My first year, we had a group of students to present at the board, and two students, one specifically stated, he didn't know that he could take AP courses. He always wondered why certain classes had majority white students. So I said, how can we say that we embrace diversity, but yet we had a system that this kid didn't even know that he can go in the room? We say that we have all of our kids' best interests at hand, and we didn't. And you know what I did next? I told the board we're putting an equity policy in place.
We started to look at who had access to what classes, and not just about honors and AP, but doing co-taught classes or mainstreaming students who were identified with disabilities.
I love how you make us smile every day.
We put together a sequence of trainings. The first one is much more about you and your identity. Later ones are more about making sure that the teachers understand the idea of equity and helping them integrate that into their practice.
Being a rookie principal, you grasp onto messages or narratives that you hear about your school. So going in, some things I heard was that, oh, it's a high minority school, it's a school in poverty. You do start to look at your students as victims of their surrounding, victims of their environment. I pushed that message out, so teachers started looking at kids that way also. After going through equity training and realizing that equity means giving people what they need to be successful, I stopped putting those definitions on our students and really started looking at what they bring to the table.
I want to talk about our equity initiatives. We want to hear your voice, because if the work is not impacting you, then we may not be doing the right work.
Walking into calculus and then there being only 3 African-American students, it's very intimidating. And that was like my first AP class ever. Even now, I feel like I can't do all the things that they're doing. I just don't feel comfortable all the time in that class.
We grow up in a place where stereotypes about African-Americans, specifically African-American males, are prevalent. So we're trying to counteract some misconceptions that teachers have about their students. And I think when you go in with a certain version of who they are in your head, you act on those things. You don't even realize the extent that it has infiltrated your thinking. So let's just open your mind to the idea that what you have always thought is true is possibly not true at all.
It's not just, oh, let's just do this one thing and say we have equity in our school. Sometimes you leave out very frustrated because there are mindsets that you're not going to change overnight. And then sometimes you could be in a session and somebody have this moment and they're like, oh my God, that's me. And whether it be good or bad, you're like, yep, that's you.
Some of the concrete changes we made, for example, expert teachers. There's a lot of research that would say that in certain schools, district will put more novice teachers in certain buildings. And we want to make sure that our students with the most needs have the best teachers. Secondly, funding. Are we funding all of our schools equitably? So we're making sure we have purposeful funding, but also being more transparent about who gets what.
I want every student to be successful. I want them to leave out of here confident. No matter what their race is or their economic background, I want them to say, I'm a scholar. Your job is to teach me, not to judge me, not to make assumptions about who I am. You are here to teach me. I am here to learn.